Welcome in. Welcome, guys, to King Josiah TV. I am your host, Josiah, guys. And before we get started, guys, I need you guys to do me a giant favor. If you're listening live, guys, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and hit the like button for me. If you're listening audibly on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, go ahead and give me that follow, guys. But again, this channel was created to educate, promote, and influence the kingdom of Jesus Christ in this world. Again, I am your host, Josiah. Let's jump into this.
Watch giants fall like Goliath. David, I dance. This ain't no TikTok. God told me that my steps was ordered. Walking in flip flops. Chris Rock.
Right. Welcome in, guys. We got a great show for you guys today. And today, guys, the first thing that I wanted to start on was something I feel like very important to the Christian faith. And one of the most important things to the Christian faith, and I think one of the biggest things that, Jesus Christ did in his ministry was deliverance. And there's this big misconception in the faith that Christians don't need deliverance. Christians can't be, oppressed by demons and demonic spirits. And those things very much well can happen and do happen. So I wanted to bring relevance up to this. There's a young lady. She was on a recent podcast. I can't remember the name of the exact podcast, but her name is Brittany Buckner, or Tiffany. I'm sorry, I said the name wrong. Tiffany Buckner. And she really goes into this. And I want you guys to just pay attention to this. I'm going to pull this up on the screen and we're going to get it rolling.
Just be spelled out the way that we say it.
Okay. All right. And so deliverance, that's a big word. Deliverance is a big word. We see deliverance all the way from the Old Testament. What would you say is deliverance? Is deliverance the casting out of a demon or being free of a demon? Is that what deliverance is?
It's not only the casting out of a demon, it is bringing God's people salvation. It's saving them in an area where they haven't been surrendered to God yet, because demons hide in voids. When we start talking about, I got a void, that's a black hole in the soul. That's all it is. That means that's a space in your heart, a space in your soul that you have not surrendered to God. And so because the Bible tells us that God is light, demons hide in that area because there's no light in that area. And they are citizens of the kingdom of darkness. And so wherever there's a void, there's going to be a black hole in the soul. And that's where demons.
And this is why I want to bring relevance to this, because she just said that, and I've never heard it saying that way, that it really is just a void that you have in your life, of something that you haven't let Christ completely be over. Because I believe as Christians, there's certain parts of our life that we let God in until we don't. She's going to continue to talk, but I think this is a good way to kind of start rethinking how we go about these things and how we view oppression and, demonic forces that could be in our life.
Demons will live in that area. There's going to be ignorance. And so you're going to live by your own whims. It's an abyss over there. It's like a bottomless pit. And it has, I call it a black hole. And in that black hole, it has this gravitational pull called attraction. And so you'll find yourself attracted to people. Whether they be platonic, romantic, it can even be family members. You'll find yourself drawing near people who seem to be able to satisfy it, because it's like a stomach. And the thing about it is, hell is never satisfied. So basically all of your relationships become nothing but a sandwich to you. It's just that you're constantly trying to find somebody, because you're not satisfied, because you're not content, because the word satisfied means content, you become contentious. So in that area, you fight all the time. So you will draw people close to you in that area and then beat them up and fight them. You'll drive them away from you, because they're not everything you need. You don't realize that you're looking for God. You're looking for light, but you're looking at false light. You're looking at people.
And that brings up a big thing, and how we always search for people. We always search for other things and filling spaces that God should have had dominion and should have a placeholder in our life. But again, we've put other things, like she said, pertaining to, looking for other people to fulfill those things that God should be in there. So I just want to read from a verse from Ephesians, pretty much as she was saying, living space for Satan. Give no place to the devil. It is a phrase from the Bible, Ephesians 4:27, which instructs people not to give a foothold in their lives. So, guys, if we give footholds to the devil, we give him a leeway, whether that be from either the music you listen to, the people you hang around, the things that you see on social media, the pages that you follow. These are all footholds that if you give the devil just an inch, he'll take a mile. The devil plays for keeps.
And you're trying to get them to come in. But what you don't realize is that the attraction is the appetite of a demon that's in there, because the demon wants to collect the soul of the person. That's all it wants to do. It wants to have,
Attraction is the demon.
it's the demon.
It's the appetite of a demon.
That's why the Bible says casting out imaginations. Because what a demon does is no different than when you're hungry, your your stomach communicates with your brain and says, I'm hungry. Well, it's the same thing whenever a demon wants to be fed. It communicates through imagination. It
That's a
communicates.
lot.
And so that's why you can have, I tell ladies this all the time, a guy you ain't talked to him in 3 years. And all of a sudden, one day he reaches out to you because he had an imagination. He had a thought that just suddenly came up. That's his demon saying, I got an appetite for her.
That's wow. I mean, how many of us have had, whether it be people that we used to be with and all these sort of things, or people we used to interact with, and randomly they're having dreams and imaginations of us, and then all of a sudden the other person says the same thing. I mean, this breaks this down. I mean, again, guys, we have to view the physical world just as real as the spiritual. And I think that's a lot of times we mess up, because we really think that the spiritual is just, it's nothing, it's not that important if I don't focus on it. No, you need to focus on the spiritual just as much as the physical, because the spiritual world actually controls the physical, even though you can't visually see it.
I got an appetite for Susan or what have you. And so the next thing you know, you get a big head, hey, big head text.
Hey, big head.
Hey, big head text.
Uh-oh.
Because
How
what's
many of y'all
in
got that?
him is probably losing access to the woman, or it wants to strengthen itself, but it creates an appetite in a person where they just can't stop thinking about whatever it is that they want, whatever it is that the demon is projecting into their mind. That's why the Bible says casting down. Cast down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Whatever you don't cast down will ultimately have to be cast out. Because what happens is, a demon, when it wants to get in, it plays with your imagination. And if you come into agreement with it, because Amos 3:3, can two walk together except they be agreed? If it gets in there and you come into agreement and you give this sin offering, then it comes in, and the next thing you know, the demon comes in.
You
Because
said what? You said a sin offering?
sin offering. Demons don't have legal access to you until they can get an offering. Like fornication is an offering. All of those things are offerings.
That's crazy, because even in my singleness, I never thought of sex as an offering. I grew up in church, guys. I grew up in that environment, knowing a lot of those things. But again, we're not taught to look at the world in a spiritual way. We're constantly looking at it in a physical way, you know. And so, I mean, I hope people are paying attention. I hope you guys are listening. This woman is dropping some gems.
They got to get you to present your body. This is why God tries to give you,
Oh my God.
he tries to show you protection. He said, let me show you how to protect your body. Let me show you how to protect yourself. Romans 12:1, present your body as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. But if you don't do that, any place you present your body, anything you present your body to, you're presenting your body. You got to remember that the body needs a head. And so when God says present it to me, he's saying, let me be the head or the authority. But if you present it to another deity, if you present it to a person, you're really presenting it to a deity. And that thing comes the head, it becomes an authority over your life. So that's how a demon does. It's going to pair you up with people that are into fornication, pair you up with people that are into things that you're not supposed to be into. But at the same time, they will satisfy the void just temporarily.
And this is another thing that she's not exactly hitting on, but it's along the same lines. You realize every time that, you know, the devil tries to throw you off your track, he always puts something in front of you that seems to be what you want, what you're into, the things that maybe you may fantasize about. All of a sudden they're around you. I mean, the devil can't read your thoughts, but just as well as you have a guardian angel, you don't think the enemy is watching you too? The devil is smart. He's been around for years. So he knows, and he's been watching you. He's been watching your family members, generations before you. So he knows what you're susceptible to. He knows what are your Achilles heels. And he's going to put certain individuals that trigger those certain things in you or allow you access to them to further pull you away from God.
They will satisfy the void. You'll satisfy their void. And then it becomes just
Exactly
this
what
back
I'm
and forth
saying.
between their demons are making trades with your demons.
We're going
It's
to
a
go
trade.
ahead and wrap today's show up with that. Thank you guys again for paying attention to King Josiah TV, where this channel was created to educate, promote, and influence the kingdom of Jesus Christ in this world. And again, if you're listening on YouTube, guys, if you haven't yet, go and smash that subscribe button. Give me a like. If you're listening audibly on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, go and hit the follow button, guys. And I will see you guys next week.
But my salvation on me like it's a helmet. The wages to sin is death, for send you to hell quick. Wanted to be all about me, God, I was selfish. I was rebellious.